What's up, everybody? Welcome into A to Z Sports Picks. Brian and I are going to have a great show for you this Tuesday. Get you ready for the betting week. Brian, it's good to see you again, buddy. You doing all right?
What's going on, buddy? Happy Tuesday. My Hawks drew first blood the other night, so I'm a happy camper.
Man, they did. They look good in a hostile environment, too. Yeah, the Garden was rocking, man. And let me say this. You know, I'm not a Knicks fan, obviously, by any means, but it's cool to see that place rocking. You know what I mean? And for Trae Young and the boys to go in there, steal him, win, man, that was huge.
Yeah, man, you know, they haven't been in the playoffs. I'm pretty sure it's a whole decade. So, I mean, you know, that place had not been rocking. I mean, it's nothing to do with the pandemic. I mean, that's been a decade since that place was rocking and rolling, you know, for a Knicks postseason game. And it was, I mean, just watching on the couch, you could hear how loud it was and how quiet it got after that floater in the paint.
Yeah, it did. I heard some definitely some derogatory chants toward Trae Young's way. So that was hilarious to me, man. But yeah, everybody, welcome in A to Z Sports Picks. I'm Alan Bell, CBS Sportsline, alongside Brian Edwards of VegasInsider.com. A to Z Sports Picks is brought to you every Tuesday and Friday by BetMGM, the king of sportsbooks. Everybody make sure to download that BetMGM app. If you haven't done it yet, do it now. This is the perfect time to. And if you use promo code A to Z100 and you make a $1 money line wager today on either the Braves or the Red Sox, if either team hits a home run, you get $100 worth of free bets. How can you beat that? It's perfect. So that's BetMGM, the king of sportsbooks. Make sure download that app. Get started today. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. Must be 21 years or older. Must be present in the state of Tennessee. For gambling problem support, call the Tennessee Red Line at 800-889-9789. So, Brian, we're going to jump right into it, man. We've got playoffs all across the board today in the NBA, the NHL, Major League Baseball is getting its way going. What we're going to do, though, is since we're a show that operates on Tuesdays and Fridays, we're going to break down 2 days worth of games in one show. So we're going to look right now at the NBA games that we have tonight, and we're going to look at the NBA games that we have tomorrow night. So I'm going to just read these off to you day by day. And you stop me after each day. Let me know what you're looking at. Let me know what we're thinking. And also, here's the thing. The name of the game, the story so far, the NBA playoffs has been road teams winning. So if we look at Tuesday tonight, we've got the Celtics at the Nets. The Nets lead that series 1-0. Then we go to the Lakers at the Suns. The Suns lead 1-0 in that series as well. And then the Mavericks at the Clippers. The Mavericks lead that series 1-0. So take a look at the three games we have on the schedule tonight. What you looking at so far?
Well, as I look at Brooklyn and the Celtics had a 6-point lead at halftime. Brooklyn was a little slow to get going, but in the second half, they did get it going. And, you know, without Jaylen Brown with his injury, Boston has to get production out of Jason Tatum. And he went 6 of 20 from the field, and the Nets rallied. And not only, you know, rallied to win, but they also covered. They win by 11. Now, not a very comfortable cover. But, look, I mean, I think Brooklyn wins and, you know, Celtics maybe get one in Boston. But I think the Brooklyn's going to win this series in 5. But, are they going to cover tonight? And I'm just not sure. I think if Tatum has a good game, and if Robert Williams does what he did in the paint the other night, he had 9 blocked shots for them. I think that, you know, they could cover. So I think Brooklyn wins. But I got to pass on it. I could see KD and Kyrie, you know, getting hot as well. And so I got to pass on that one. And the Lakers and Phoenix, you know, Phoenix is 8-4, but straight up and against the spread as in 12 games as an underdog this year. 2-2, both straight up and against the spread as a home dog. They beat Utah and they beat Milwaukee as home dogs, but they lost in OT to Denver and lost by 5 to the Clippers. So those are the 4 home dog spots they have had. I just think the Lakers are really dangerous tonight, kind of a desperation game, but I don't want to fade Phoenix. So that is a pass. My only play for tonight, I'm going to go a small play on Dallas plus the 7. I'm just going to trust Luka. I worry that they won't be greedy and try to get a second game, but they're playing well, man. And I think I think they can hang around if Luka has another big game. And so just a small opinion on the Mavs plus 7 tonight. And that's all I've got for tonight. I think tonight's a tough slate.
Yeah, I'm with you. And I mean, it's the playoffs, right? Like, what we're seeing across NBA, NHL. It's tough, man. Like, it's tough betting on these games because they are and can get so tight. Obviously, we saw what the Bucks did against the Heat last night, so I'm not going to say every game is really tight, but I mean, it's the playoffs. It certainly is, games. There are games that could come down, to literally one, 2 points in terms of the spread total. So you got to be tight on those. Moving to Wednesday, we've got the Wizards at the 76ers. 76ers lead that series 1-0. We've got the Hawks at the Knicks. Obviously, we talked about Atlanta leads that series 1-0. And we have the Grizzlies at Jazz, and the Grizzlies lead that series 1-0. And we're going to break that game down more here in just a bit. But looking at the Wizards, looking at the Hawks game, what do you see there? What do you like?
Okay, I like 2 plays here. I'm going to keep riding the Wizards, who have just been terrific for me. They cover on Sunday afternoon. They improved to 3-0 against the spread in 3 games at Philadelphia this year. They improved to 21-6 against the spread in their last 27 games. In their last 14 games as underdogs, they're now 11-3 against the spread with 5 outright wins. And look, the 76ers went to the free throw line 33 times in game 1, and Washington only went to the line 15 times, and they still covered. They're getting terrific play out of their bench. Davis Bertans, Ish Smith, Daniel Gafford made all of his field goal attempts the other day. Robin Lopez, they're getting contributions from him as well. So I'm all about Washington here. I'm not going to call for the outright upset. I'm not going to put any on the money line, but I'll say I won't be shocked if they win this. I'll also go with the over, which right now the over is at 230.5. The over has cashed in back-to-back games for Washington. Those combined scores have been 243 and 257, and the over's on 11-6 run for the Wizards, and one of those unders had a combined score of 236. So with this total, the over would actually be on a 12-5 run for the Wizards, and the over's hitting 3 straight for Philadelphia as well. So I'm going to go over for a little bit, and Washington is my bigger play, plus 8.5. And I also like Memphis, but we'll break that game down a little deeper here in a bit.
Yeah, we're going to break that game down for sure in our local lock segment. But yeah, no, I really like that. And again, I think the NBA playoffs have started off very nicely, having, that kind of disbursement between home teams winning, road teams winning. It goes to show that, it's not like the first, day of the NCAA tournament where you just got a bunch of blowouts. Like, we've got some really nice games set up, and it's going to lead to nothing but, even more better games as we go along. Now, as we jump into that, I mean, let's make some picks. Like, let's get some bets on the board here. What we call 2 for the money. We're going to take a look. And since it's the playoffs, it's a little difficult, to keep it to one day. That's why we want to break down 2 days, kind of back to back here, so that you've got options here and you're not kind of pigeonholed, in terms of the games that you have. So, Brian, I'm going to throw it to you. You're looking at tonight. You're looking at tomorrow night. Give us 2 picks that you're playing, 2 picks that you really like.
Okay. I will go, well, like I said, I like Washington a lot. And then I'll also go with over 212.5 for Atlanta and New York. Atlanta has seen, they've seen 4 straight unders, but it's time for an over. Like I was saying last week, this is a very low total for Atlanta when Trae Young is healthy. They just missed it the other night, 212 points, but there weren't a lot of whistles at all. I think the Knicks shot, I think it was 13 free throws, and Atlanta shot 10 or 11. So I think we're going to get more whistles and a more physical game here. And all it would have taken the other night was like 1 or 2 more whistles, and we would have had the over, because it's a very low total for Atlanta. And I don't think Julius Randle is going to go 6 of 23 from the field again. Now, by the same token, I don't know that Alec Burks is going to go off and score 27 points off the bench. But Atlanta didn't have a great shooting night either. So I'm going over 212.5 for Atlanta, New York tomorrow. And then I also, like I said, I like Washington tomorrow, and I'm going to talk more about liking the Grizzlies here shortly.
Nice, I like it. And we've got some picks here in the chat. We want to kind of show what you guys are playing as well. My man Ali's going with the Nets -9 tonight. And he's got a nice little stat here that they are 7-0 in their last 7 against the Celtics. So like that one against the spread. Our man, look, Goodman, he's got a crazy parlay. All right. I like where he's going with this. All money line bets. I like it. Danny Whitson, what's up, buddy? We see you in here as well. Jacob, good to see you again, buddy, too. Thank you again, everybody tuning in. Let us know what you're playing. For me, I'm going to go with 2 games today, and I'm going to move it around from the NBA and to Major League Baseball. So my first pick is going to be, you guys have seen me the last week or so. I've really been on the streak plays. We rode the White Sox over the weekend against left-handed pitchers. It didn't come up then, but it came up yesterday once again that the White Sox got it done against the Cardinals facing a left-handed pitcher. So they're now 24-3 in their last 27, straight up versus left-handed pitchers. But look, I'm going to go the opposite route on it tonight. And this is another streak that you've heard me talk about. The St. Louis Cardinals money line at +130 against the White Sox. You could ride that in terms of the run line +1.5 if you want to eat a little bit of juice there. But again, the reason being is this. Jack Flaherty's on the mound for the Cardinals. St. Louis is 9-0 in his starts this season. They're also 71% to the over in his starts as well. However, I don't trust the total play in this one as much as I do Jack Flaherty. So, yeah, my first play, I'm going to ride the Cardinals money line +130. Second game, I'm going to ride the Celtics Nets. I'm going to play the under 227. Now, again, we saw what happened last night. I was riding that under, I believe, 224. We saw just a monster blowout, of what the Bucks did to the Heat. So 227, you're looking at it. It could be a little bit of a small number, but here's the deal. Look, first up, the Boston Celtics are 100% to the under in their last 5 straight. All right. Second, you look at the Nets and Celtics rivalry that they played this season. 100% of the games have hit the under. So again, I'm counting on, and we're going to talk more about some props that are in this game, but I'm looking at a game where it's not going to be as high offensive scoring as some might think. I'm going to ride the under 227 on that. So again, my 2 plays for today, St. Louis Cardinals money line +130 against the White Sox, and the Celtics Nets under 227. So that being said, we're going to move to some local games, local teams that we have going on. Brian, we've got, let's see, we've got 2 tonight, and we've got 1 on Wednesday in the Grizzlies and Jazz. But we're going to start today with what we've got: the Predators at the Hurricanes, Game 5, Stanley Cup playoffs in the first round. And we got the Braves at the Red Sox, going tonight to start their series. Look, I'm going to start with the Predators here. You look at this series, it's been crazy. All right. The Hurricanes have won the first 2 games. Predators won the last 2 games. It's tied 2-2. Home teams won every game this year. All right. And if you look at this series between these 2 teams, the last 11, the home teams won 10-1. All right. What I'm looking at is, what does Carolina do in the third period tonight? Because their first 2 games at home, they outscored the Predators 5-0 in the third period. The Predators were in these games. It's not like, they were getting blown out the entire game in games 1 and 2 on the road. They were in them until the third period. And then it seemed like once Carolina kind of, snuck one in, past UC Soros, that's kind of when it got out of hand. So I'm looking at that game tonight. I'm going to ride the Preds +1.5. I think that we're going to see a tight game. I don't know if we see overtime. Well, we saw the last 2 that were here in Nashville. But again, I think that the Preds, have some energy, have some juice in them of seeing that they can be in this series. And I'm going to ride that one. Now, what I'm looking at for Nashville is this. You look at their shots on goal through this entire series, okay? Game 1, 24. Game 2, 32. Game 3, 54. Game 4, 43. Now, understand, games 3 and 4 went to overtime. I certainly understand. I'm not a dummy. I get why those numbers are higher. But we talked about it last week. The Predators have to get shots on goal. They've got to be aggressive, and they've got to just take it to Carolina, because again, when you let a team like Carolina get, offensively aggressive on you, first, they don't have to be, because they are that good. Their goal percentage to shots is pretty high. I think last week we talked about it. They were at like an 11% clip, somewhere around there. The Predators were at 3% for this series. So you look at it, I think the Preds just have to stay aggressive. You have to get shots on goal. You don't have to bury every one of them, but just keep on the offensive. So I'm going to ride the Preds plus 1.5 tonight again. I don't know if they win the game. The numbers tell us that the home team is likely to win, but if I can get plus 1.5 on the puck line, I'll play that. Second one, we've got the Braves at the Red Sox tonight. Now, understand, these are two teams that are somewhat similar in how they go about it. Their last 5 games, both teams, the bats are going. They're starting to look better offensively. But what you see are two teams that have trouble middle relief, bullpen. All right, so I think that you're looking at whichever team can attack and get to the other's bullpen middle relief quicker, that team's probably going to win this game. So I'm not going to make a play on winning and losing. I'm going to ride the over in 9 in this one. And you look, the Atlanta Braves, they're 7-0 to the over when Charlie Morton starts after working 6+ innings and giving up 3 or fewer runs in his previous outing. You look at what the Braves have done in their last 3 games. They've won 7-1, 6-1, 20-1. I understand that those are against the Pirates, and that 20-1 Friday night affair is going to juice up what their offense looks like. But again, I like it. In terms of the total, I think we're going to see both teams swinging aggressively, both teams playing to put some runs on the board. The reason why I'm not playing the Braves, money line on this one, you look at the Red Sox, they're 6-1 as a home underdog this season. And you look at the Braves, they're 1-7 in interleague this season. So again, I don't know if the Braves get it done. They certainly could. I'm not saying that they can't, but I'm going to ride the over 9 on this one. I like that play. Now, moving to Wednesday, Brian, I'm going to kick it to you. I've talked plenty enough here to annoy everyone. Talk us through Grizzlies at Jazz tomorrow night. The Grizzlies won game 1. We saw it, an exciting finish. Break this one down for us, man. What are you looking at?
Yes, so most books right now have Utah at -8.5 with a total of 217.5. Actually, our friends at BetMGM have Utah at 9, so even better. It looks like that's like the only book that I'm seeing that is at 9. And since I like Memphis, that's music to my ears. So look, if after Memphis had to go to overtime on Friday night, play their way into the playoffs, deal with a couple of bad calls down the stretch that allowed Golden State to get the game into overtime, and then they come through in overtime and they win, and then they got to travel and go into the altitude in Salt Lake City. And if there was a game where you would think, that was kind of a giveaway game, you're coming off the high of beating Golden State, you had to go overtime. Now you got to go into the altitude, the number 1 seed, et cetera. You thought maybe this young team would, have some stage fright or whatever. I don't know if it was just Donovan Mitchell being a late scratch, whatever it was. They controlled that game start to finish, and they looked terrific. And they looked terrific at Golden State as well. They disposed of San Antonio. Confidence is high. And you start to wonder, Jaren Jackson hadn't have missed all that time this year. This probably wouldn't be an 8 seed. They've won 8 of their last 9 games. Their last 22 as underdogs. They're 17-5 against the spread with 11 outright wins. And Utah has lost 3 of its last 5. They're in a 2-4 against the spread slump in its last 6 games. And they get Donovan Mitchell back tonight, but it's for the first time since April 16th. He obviously had a severe ankle injury. Where's his cardio? He was upset they didn't play the other night, but he had been saying, and he'd been practicing the 3 or 4 days leading up to it, that he was good to go. Obviously, the medical staff, didn't think he was quite ready yet, and so there are questions. What kind of rust is he going to have? Where's his cardio? Is he going to be on a minutes restriction? There are a lot of questions there, and I think you got to go with Memphis here with the way they're playing. Now, look, maybe Donovan Mitchell comes out, looks 100%, and picks up where he left off because he was playing like one of the top 3 players in the league when he got injured. But I'm going to go with this Memphis team. And look, Valanciunas and Jaren Jackson provide a lot of size, and they're both big, muscular guys that can kind of push Gobert around a little bit. And, the defensive player of the year, if you watch his post-game press conference the other night, he was frustrated with the officials calling, et cetera. And, he's worried about getting in foul trouble. etc. So he's kind of going through some mind games. We're only one game deep. So I think all signs point to Memphis, and I'm going to go with the Grizzlies. I'm going to pass on the total.
Yeah. So I'm with you. I mean, what'd you say? It's sitting at 9 right now. I mean, that
9 at BetMGM, 8.5 at a lot of other places. But so if you can get 9 at MGM right now, you might want to get it now because they're the only 9 I see left on the board.
Yeah. So, doing some research, on this, these two teams of how they've gone about it all season long, right? There's some interesting numbers here. Like you look at the Grizzlies, they're 3-1 against the spread versus Utah this year. They're 15-8 as against the spread as a road underdog this year. Like Memphis has no problem playing on the road, playing against good teams. You look at in the 4 games that these teams have played, it's 3-1 to the over. But here's the thing. I think I might be on the under on this one, and here's why. You look at both teams in, their playoff runs. Obviously, Utah's only played 1 game. Memphis, we saw what they did, in the play-in games. They're down. Each team's down about 5 to 6% in their field goal percentage, which, understandable. It's the playoffs. Games get tighter for sure. But I'm looking at that. I'm also looking, what kind of worries me a little bit, and it's not a big number yet, because we've only seen 1 game. But I want to take a look at where the Grizzlies are in terms of rebounds against Utah, and especially in game 2 tomorrow night, because I think that could be something that could kind of exacerbate this series. Again, it might not be anything at all, but just keep an eye there because I think Utah might take advantage of their rebound situation against Memphis. Again, I don't know. Just kind of looking at numbers here. It's just a thought that kind of came into my head. Just something to keep an eye on. But yeah, I might be playing the under on this one. I haven't made a decision yet on that, but I might be going with it. Now, looking in the chat here, Zach Goodman, going back to what we were talking about in terms of the Atlanta Braves, I completely agree with you. I think that the game tonight is an excellent game to take a look at props. Don't go crazy. I mean, looking at home run, bets, props, et cetera, things like that. Like that's like picking, who's going to score first goal, in an NHL game. I mean, those are tough. But in terms of actual hits, yeah, I'm with you. Like I think that we're going to see a game where you're going to have multiple hits. You're going to have, obviously, I'm playing the over of 9. You're going to see runs scored. You're going to see guys get on base. So I'm with you. I think that this is an excellent game, to play props on. And going off of that, speaking of props, I want to segment this perfectly into BetMGM has some awesome featured props and parlays in the NBA, and they've been doing it each night. And it's really like we talk about downloading the app and using BetMGM. Obviously, we saw, using promo code A to Z 100. You could, earn and win up to $100, in free bets in terms of the Braves and Red Sox game. But they've got so many other options too. And what I want to do is, Brian, I've got a list of their featured props or parlays, and what we're going to call pick your prop, pick your parlay. All right. I want you to pick one of these. We're going to play a little game here. I want you to pick one of these that you think is the best option that can hit tonight. So I'm going to read through them. I think we've got 6 or 7 somewhere in here. And I'm going to read these. And I want to hear you guys' thoughts in the chat too. Please let us know which one you think is the best. So here are the feature plays that BetMGM has tonight. You ready? Okay. First one, Lakers and Clippers both to win, plus 150. All right. Second one, Suns and the Mavericks both to win, plus 550. Third one, Kevin Durant to score 40-plus points, plus 400. Fourth one, Jason Tatum to record a double-double, plus 275. Fifth one, James Harden to record 2+ blocks, plus 230. Sixth one, Kemba Walker to score 30-plus points, plus 325. And the last one, Kyrie Irving to make 5+ three-pointers at plus 500. So we're going to play this game, Brian. I'm going to throw it to you. Which one's the best option?
Okay. Well, I'm going to throw out some stats for each of them, and then I'm going to pick the one I like. Okay, so Kyrie's to make 5+ three-pointers, that's got the second best odds at plus 500, so that would make it attractive. The other one with more of a payout is Suns Mavs to both win, plus 550. However, Kyrie has made 5 or three-pointers or more only 3 times in his last 19 games and only 4 times in his last 28. So there's a good reason why there's the second highest payout with Kyrie there. As for James Harden to record 2 blocks or more, he's actually done that in 2 of his last 4 games. But after that, it's only 2 of his last 10 games. You got to go back a 13th game to get another 2-block performance. As for Jason Tatum recording a double-double, he's only done that once in his last 10 games. And as for Kevin Durant to score 40 or more, he has gone 8 straight games without scoring 40 or more. But the 9th and 10th game, he scored 42 in two consecutive games. As for Kemba to score 30-plus points at some of the higher odds, plus 325, Kemba has actually scored 32 or more in 4 of his last 8 games. And during one of the 4 misses during this 8-game stretch, he had 29, so he was only 1 away. So I'm going to go with Kemba to score 30-plus points at a plus 325 return. He did not have a very good game 1. He was 5 of 16 from the field and scored 15 points. But without Jaylen Brown and with Tatum only going 6 of 20, it's very important that they get a lot of points from Kemba, and he's been able to step up and do that here, again, 4 times in the last 8 games and almost 5 times in the last 8 games, missed by 1 with 29. So I'll go with Kemba to score 30 or more at plus 325 odds.
All right. I like it. Now, I'll say this. So what I'm going with James Harden in the blocks. All right. So like you said, he's done it 2 in the last 4 games. You look at what he's done with Brooklyn compared to his entire career. He's averaging, I think, a much higher number. I wish I had the percentage in front of me, but and it has to do with this team. It has to do with Brooklyn. And I think, with me playing the under in that game tonight, I think it's going to be kind of a sloppy game. I think we're going to see a little bit more defense than we normally do. It's not like he's going to be Dikembe Mutombo out there, but I don't need him to be, right? Like, I only need 2 blocks. So I'm going to go with that. I'm going to go with Harden at the plus 230. I think that's the best option, at least for me. The Suns Mavericks would be really nice. I'd like to hit that plus 550, but again, I just don't believe in it that much. If I have to play one, which I'm going to play this one tonight, yeah, give me that James Harden 2 blocks and plus 230. Yeah.
One good thing about with Harden in the blocks is Kemba's one of the shorter guards in the league, and Harden's going to be matched up against him some of the time. I mean, I'm sure it'll be Kyrie at times, but Kemba's one of those guys that penetrates a lot, and it's easier to block his shot than many other guards. So that's another factor there.
Yep, I'm right there with you, man. Like, I completely agree with that. Again, I think it's going to be kind of a sloppy game. I think exactly what you said. I think we're going to see a lot of drive, attempt, drive, and score. And we're going to see, all kinds of just kind of funky type plays, in that. So if I could get it at 2 and that's all I need, I'm going to ride that one. So, Brian, I'm going to throw it back to you. Let us know, again, everybody in the chat, on Twitter, Facebook, you name it. Let us know what games you're playing tonight, tomorrow. Brian, read us through again quickly. What are your 2 best plays?
Okay, my 2 best plays are going to be Washington plus 8.5 tomorrow night at Philly, and also like the over in that game as well. And I also like and the over is 230.5 for Washington at Philadelphia tomorrow. And I also like Memphis plus 9 at BetMGM. For tomorrow night. And then tonight, just a little baby taste of Dallas plus 7. I'm going to trust Luka and Porzingis and Tim Hardaway Jr. Will give me enough offense. I think the Clippers win, but I think Dallas will cover.
Nice. Yep. And I'm going with the Cardinals plus 130 at Chicago White Sox, and I'm going with the Celtics next under 227. And like I talked about, I also, those are my 2 for the money plays. But looking at the local teams, I like the Braves and Red Sox over 9. I like the Preds plus 1.5. And then the Grizzlies and Jazz, we'll take a look at that, but I'm probably going to ride the under on that one. So I think that's it for us today, man. Like I said, everybody, make sure to download that BetMGM app. Get that going. Use promo code A2Z100. If you put a $1 money line bet on either the Braves or the Red Sox tonight, either team, it doesn't matter. If anybody on either team, it's a home run, you get $100 with the free bets. How can you beat it? That's BetMGM. Make sure, jump on board now. So for Brian Edwards, I'm Alan Bell. Thank you so much for tuning in. And everybody, let's cash some tickets.
Good luck, everybody.